All right, welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive. We love getting your suggestions for topics, and you really outdid yourself this time. Today, we're tackling something super important, how to bounce back from those curveballs life throws at us and keep that positive momentum going.
It's all about resilience and keeping a positive outlook, right?
Exactly. And what's really cool is you actually sent us some really thought-provoking excerpts from capitulo02.pdf that really get into the nitty-gritty of overcoming obstacles. So we're going to unpack those today, see what gems we can pull out.
Yeah, see how we can make this stuff actionable for everyone listening,
Yeah.
no matter what they might be going through.
Exactly. And speaking of overcoming obstacles, I think the story that really jumped out at us from this material is that of Chris Nikic.
Oh, absolutely. Talk about inspiration.
Right. I mean, this guy became the first person with Down syndrome to complete an Ironman triathlon.
Let that sink in for a minute.
I know, right? We're talking a 2.4-mile swim. Then hop on a bike for 112 miles.
And as if that wasn't enough, finish it off with a full 26.2-mile marathon.
All back to back.
It's unreal.
So the question is how? How did he do it? And more importantly, what can we learn from his journey?
Because we all face our own challenges, right?
Big and small. So how do we tap into that resilience and positive thinking to help us overcome those hurdles? That's what we're going to explore today.
Well, the material starts off with a quote from Nelson Mandela that really sets the stage. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall.
It's so true, right? Life isn't about avoiding those stumbles. It's about how we respond to them. It's about getting back up.
Exactly. And that brings us right to Chris Nikic's incredible story. He was born in 1999 with Down syndrome. So right from the start, there were certain challenges, even with basic motor skills.
Yeah, the text mentions how doctors initially even suggested certain limitations for him, but that just makes his achievements even more amazing, doesn't it?
It really does. What struck me was the unwavering belief that both Chris and his parents had. They didn't accept those initial limitations as, like, the final word.
It's so powerful, right? That early support, that belief in his potential, that must have been huge for him. And then to set his sights on an Ironman, it's almost like, why not go for the most challenging thing you can think of?
Right. This is an event that pushes even the most elite athletes to their absolute limit. It's grueling.
It's insane. The text describes it like, picture this. A 2.4-mile swim, first of all. That's like swimming across a lake.
It is.
And then you got to get on a bike and ride 112 miles. That's like cycling for a whole day, practically.
A long time in the saddle.
And then, like, that wasn't enough. You finish up with a full marathon, 26.2 miles.
Non-stop.
The sheer physical and mental toughness that requires, it blows my mind.
It's incredible.
And in 2020, Chris did it. He became the first person with Down syndrome to cross that Ironman finish line. That's a moment in history.
No.
It makes you really reconsider what's possible.
It really does. And, the text points out that Chris's motivation wasn't just about personal glory.
Right.
It was about sending a message. Like showing the world that with hard work, dedication, and, crucially, a positive mindset, even those things that seem impossible can be overcome. It's such an empowering message.
So empowering. And, let's be real, it wasn't easy. I mean, the text talks about all the hurdles he had to overcome during training, building that kind of endurance, dealing with the specific challenges related to Down syndrome.
Of course.
And then those moments that I think we all have where you just want to quit, What can we learn from that, right? That even someone as determined as Chris had those moments.
I think it makes him even more relatable, right? It shows us that those doubts are normal, even for someone achieving extraordinary things. And, the text mentions that Chris really leaned on his family, his friends, his coach for that extra motivation.
That support system is so important.
Absolutely. When his own energy was depleted, they were there to pick him up.
It shows that we're not meant to do it alone.
Exactly. We need that support, that encouragement, especially when things get tough.
So picture this. November 7th, 2020, in Panama City Beach, Florida. Race day.
Must have been hot.
Oh, I bet. You can just imagine the intensity, the physical demands. The text really focuses on Chris's perseverance, that drive to just keep moving forward one step at a time.
16 hours.
16 hours he was out there.
That's incredible. To keep going for that long, it takes so much mental strength. It goes way beyond just physical training.
To mind over matter at that point.
Absolutely. To cross that finish line after 16 hours, that's a testament to his resilience, his refusal to give up. I mean, that moment wasn't just the end of a race. It was the culmination of years of hard work and believing in himself.
Powerful stuff. And the text actually breaks down some key lessons from Chris's story, things that we can all apply to our own lives.
Oh, definitely.
So the first one, naturally, is resilience. And they define it simply as getting back up after you fall and continuing to move forward. Like the example they give. Chris showed resilience by finishing the Ironman race despite all the challenges. I love that.
It's a great way to put it. It's about not letting those setbacks define us, right?
Yeah.
It's about that forward momentum.
Exactly. The next one is positive thinking. And the material emphasizes how crucial this was for Chris to overcome those obstacles. They say, positive thinking helped Chris keep going during his training in the race. And I think the key here is his focus on his strengths, not his limitations. But how do you actually do that? Like, how do you cultivate that positive mindset when you're facing these huge challenges?
That's a great question.
Mm.
And while the text doesn't give a specific recipe, I think it's about focusing on what you can control.
Right.
Celebrating those small wins along the way,
Mm.
and keeping your eye on that ultimate goal.
Yeah.
It's about training your brain to see the possibilities instead of getting stuck on the roadblocks.
Love it.
And then the third key takeaway, hard work and dedication. It's funny, the example is so simple. Chris's hard work and dedication led him to accomplish his dream.
No shortcuts.
No shortcuts, just consistent effort.
I find that so refreshing in a world that's obsessed with quick fixes. It's a good reminder that the big achievements often come from just putting in the work day after day.
Definitely.
And finally, the fourth lesson is the importance of a support system. They give the example. Chris's family and coach were there every step of the way to support him. It just highlights how much stronger we are when we have people in our corner. But what about those who don't have that strong support system? Where do they go?
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
And, while the text doesn't explicitly address that, I think there's a subtle message there about how Chris also cultivated an inner strength that helped him through those tough times.
I see that.
And that's where practices like mindfulness and self-compassion come in.
Interesting.
They help you become your own cheerleader, your own source of strength.
I like that. So the material then kind of recaps all these key terms for us just to make sure we're all on the same page.
Right.
So resilience, they define it as the ability to bounce back from difficulties. Like they say, Chris showed great resilience during the Ironman race.
Perfect example.
Positive thinking. This is about focusing on good thoughts even when things are tough. Like they say, positive thinking can help you overcome challenges in life.
Powerful stuff.
Dedication. This is all about that commitment to hard work, putting in the time to reach your goals. The example, Chris's dedication to training helped him complete the race.
Love it.
And then finally, support system. This is all about having those people in your life who are there to help and encourage you. And the example, a strong support system is important for achieving big goals.
So true.
Now, what I found really interesting is that the text then introduces this sort of debate between two people named Alex and Sam.
Oh, yeah, they offer different perspectives on resilience.
Exactly. So Alex starts by acknowledging how incredible Chris's story is, but then brings up this really valid point. Is that level of resilience something everyone can achieve? Like, does everyone have access to that kind of support that Chris had?
Right. It kind of makes you think, are we all starting from the same place when it comes to bouncing back from setbacks?
Yeah.
Or do our environment, the people around us, play a big role in that?
It's a big question. Honestly, when I first read Alex's perspective, I really saw where they were coming from. It's hard to imagine overcoming those kinds of obstacles without that external support.
Right.
But then Sam jumps in with this counter-argument saying, well, support is important, but the real core of resilience is internal, like Chris's choice to not give up. Sam even gives examples of people who've overcome incredible challenges with very little outside help.
Yeah, emphasizing the power of mindset.
Exactly. But then Sam acknowledges, okay, having that strong support system can really amplify that inner strength. It's like, it's not one or the other necessarily.
Right. It can be both. It's like having a good engine in your car, but then also having like a tailwind pushing you forward.
Perfect analogy. So then Alex comes back and says, okay, mindset is important, but staying positive when you're feeling isolated, when you're struggling alone, is really tough. And this leads to a super practical question. How do we help those people who feel stuck, who maybe don't have that support system?
Right. What can we offer them?
And Sam's suggestion is so interesting. They bring up yoga and mindfulness as tools to help build that inner belief, to be more present, less anxious, and just mentally stronger overall. They even tie it back to Chris's journey, suggesting that these practices could help us develop that same grounded strength he embodied.
It makes sense, right? There's a lot of research showing how mindfulness and yoga can help regulate your nervous system, make you more aware of your emotions, and even help you be kinder to yourself. And those are all key ingredients for resilience, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And then Alex agrees, saying yoga is so powerful for building resilience. And it's not just the physical aspect, it's that connection between mind and body, the focus on the present moment, learning how to manage stress in a healthy way. Alex even suggests that Chris himself would probably agree that the mental side of things played a huge role in his achievement.
It's a powerful point. And, what I find so beneficial about yoga, especially for building mental resilience, is that focus on the breath
Yes.
and being present in your body. It's like grounding yourself, which is so helpful when you're feeling overwhelmed by challenges.
I totally agree. And then Sam wraps up this whole discussion by saying, look, the mind and body are connected, and practices like yoga, combined with positive thinking, can be so powerful for those who feel stuck. They emphasize focusing on what you can control, taking small steps forward, believing in yourself, and being around the right people.
All those things that Chris
Yeah.
exemplified, right?
It all ties together beautifully. And I love that the material doesn't just leave us with a feel-good story. It actually gives us concrete tools and strategies that we can actually use.
Yeah. It empowers us to take action.
Exactly. And to back up these ideas, they even include some scientific research.
Oh, yes.
So they mention this study by Dr. Martin Seligman at the University of Pennsylvania,
Okay.
and they found that having a positive mindset is directly linked to being better able to manage stress and tough situations.
That's so interesting.
It shows that our attitude isn't just some abstract thing. It really does impact how well we handle challenges and whether we succeed.
It's amazing how much our thoughts can influence our reality.
And then there's another study they mentioned from UC Berkeley that connects positive thinking and resilience to better overall health.
Like physical health, too.
Yeah, like a stronger immune system, lower stress levels. It's like a positive feedback loop. Being resilient and thinking positively not only help you overcome obstacles, but they actually make you healthier overall.
It all comes full circle. I love that. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I think the message is clear. Chris Nicic's story is an incredible example of the power of resilience and positive thinking to overcome those seemingly impossible challenges. And, we want to remind you, our listener, that you have that same power within you.
Absolutely. And as we leave you today, we want to leave you with a question to think about. So, considering Chris's journey and all the things we've talked about today, what's one small step that you can take today, right now, to work towards a goal you have or tackle a challenge you're facing? Just one small step.
That's all it takes sometimes, right?
Yeah.
To get that momentum going.
Exactly. And the key takeaway here is that resilience isn't about never falling down. It's about getting back up every time. And positive thinking, well, that's the fuel that keeps you going. So please, don't give up when things get hard. Keep pushing forward, even if it's just a little bit at a time.
Believe in yourself, just like Chris believed in himself. You have that potential for greatness within you.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. We hope you found Chris's story inspiring and that you can apply these insights to your own life. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into something fascinating, so stay tuned.
See you next time.